637 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, along with Joan Jones. KGB, Jeff Malinoff, is producing today, and a Newsmaker Hotline is where Congressman Tim Burchett is. Congressman, always great to have you on. You were in the news yesterday, and I thought that it was so intriguing. I've spoken about this before, about how our country, taxpayers, have been funding the Taliban. But you got into a back and forth with Elon Musk, because Elon Musk tweeted out as the president was asked about this, the president-elect was asked about this, and a reporter said, are we really giving, all this money to the Taliban? And then Elon Musk tweeted out about that, and you responded to Elon Musk, and you said, yes, this has been going on. And Congressman, I am here to tell you that it is a travesty. You're trying to stop it. So let's talk a little bit about this, because some folks may not know that they are, through their taxpayer dollars, funding a terrorist organization.
That is correct, and you can go back and watch the YouTube video where I questioned the Secretary of State, and they admitted to it. But the reason this is out there is because there's a guy named Sean Ryan, war hero. He's a dadgum Navy SEAL. He's got a podcast. He's out of Nashville. You ought to get him on your show sometime. He is the real deal. He found out about this through interviews through people, and he served over there. And he told me about this. It's probably over a year ago. So we drew up legislation to stop it, and it's almost like pulling teeth. I couldn't get it. Finally, I just went to the speaker and I said, listen, this is going on. These idiots in these committees won't let me out, won't let the bill out. Well, it went through, and they didn't even want to touch it. It went unanimous. It went on like a consent calendar. And then I could not get anybody in the Senate to take the bill up. I've talked to multiple senators, and they've all, they'll assign me an intern or something, to look at it. And then this was last year, and they would not ever even take it up. You want to blame Schumer? Well, dadgum, we got. I don't know. It's just very frustrating to me.
Congressman, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, we got Senator Marsha Blackburn and Senator Bill Haggerty on this show all the time. Did you speak to them? I find it hard to believe that good conservatives would not see that we're giving money to the Taliban and say, yeah, we need to figure this out and stop this. It's stunning to me that, What was their justification for not picking this up and basically, if I'm hearing you right, burying it in committee?
Well, it never even got to the committee. There's a real disconnect there. I think we've got the wind behind us on it now with Elon getting involved, and now folks like yourself are bringing it up. I suspect I'll be getting calls back and people wanting to know, where is that bill now? Because I have to refile it. We're refiling it. Marjorie Taylor Greene is asked to be a co-signer on it, and I hope we get all the Tennessee delegation on the bill in the House, and then the Senate. Hopefully, I know Leader Thun and he and I had a nice conversation this weekend. I suspect that it won't hesitate much when it gets to the Senate this go round.
So let's talk about.
I am completely disappointed in how that went down, though. I'll just let it go. I'm not going to name names.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into all that, but I just say I'm very disappointed, and they've been warned.
So yeah, and it is interesting too, because and I think you and I spoke about this before, where you mentioned Elon Musk getting involved, and he's gotten involved in things before, tweeting out about, if I remember correctly, the continuing resolution. That was a story from several weeks ago as well. It's kind of sad that in America today, it takes a social media post from Elon Musk to shine a light on something that is either being done or not getting done in Washington, D.C. for people to sit up and take notice.
That's correct. That is correct. But that's the way we are. I think everybody's hung up on their media and making a good appearance, but results are what matters. you're going to have a million hearings. I get so disgusted with these hearings, and something goes down, and I said, and I'll joke, I'll say somebody's going to get a harsh letter written to them, and so it just baffles me. I hate missed opportunity, and this to me would have been a huge opportunity. And could you imagine if you were running in a district, say you were a Democrat, but had a large ethnic crowd in your ethnic constituency, and you voted against this bill? I mean, could you imagine the outrage?
Yeah.
But there again, missed opportunity. I think that's the Republican Party today.
Well, and so that kind of leads into my next question, which is okay. So you have Speaker Johnson. He's back. You voted for him. I believe you voted for him. There's only one person that didn't. I'm assuming that was Thomas Massie. So
it was.
How confident are you that Speaker Johnson will bring this to allow this to be brought to the floor here in the House of Representatives?
It's going to be brought to the floor, and sooner rather than later. We're trying to get it on the first markup of a Foreign Affairs Committee, and the chairman of that the new chairman is a good friend of mine out of Florida. He has both his legs blown off over there. He's very much in favor of this bill and wants to see it get to the floor. And I'll embarrass somebody this time. I'm not going to be so nice to my Republican friends in the Senate on this go round, because it makes me angry that this is going on. Look, it's $40 million a week that we're sending to the Taliban. $40 million, and that we know of, and we're not. This ought to be on the front page of every paper in the country, and it ought to be every newscast. Say, hey, did you know? Because look at the people in Upper East Tennessee that can't get any dadgum relief. Yep. There's still people up there without electricity and power. I was with Jeremy Faison last night, who represents that area, and I mean he spearheaded a lot of the stuff going on up there because we're just so inept.
Well, and I think part of the problem, Congressman, if I may, then we'll move on to something else, but is that this money is being billed as, I'm going to air quote this, humanitarian aid, but it's being funneled right into the coffers of the Taliban. We know what they're doing with women's rights in Afghanistan. We also know that Afghanistan has turned into a terrorist playground with Al-Qaeda and so forth. The United Nations also giving them a ton of money, if I remember right, billions of dollars as well. So do me a favor, if you would, and keep us updated on all of that, because I think that you are doing a great thing. Also a great thing. And I was shocked that so many Democrats decided to vote against the Laken-Riley Act. I know that you wouldn't be surprised that a whole bunch of Democrats, 159 Democrats voted against the Laken-Riley Act. And basically what this would do is it would require federal authorities to detain illegal migrants who have been convicted of theft and related crimes. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Do you know what the reasoning was, why the 159 Democrats voted against this?
Yeah, because they hate Donald Trump and they hate this country. There's no other reason. They do not want to admit they have a problem. It's just part of the trouble with the bill I have is that people in both parties, the defund the Taliban, they're asleep at the switch. They allowed this to happen. They allowed this corruption to enter into our system, and to think that Laken-Riley, a young lady, was raped and brutally murdered over in Georgia. She was a nursing student. She could have been any of our daughters. Just the wrong place at the wrong time. And this guy had been in custody before, and this bill would guarantee that they were that they would be apprehended, turned over to DHS, and there's an apparatus in there to even sue the Department of Human Services if they don't follow through with it. So it's just it's beyond me, really. And again, we need to be blasting this from the mountaintops every day, because that's the kind of thing I can't see even a liberal-minded person, because these liberal-minded people, these union folks, these are the ones that are going to be affected by all this, by this influx of almost slave labor. It's indentured servitude, a lot of them. And think we allow this to happen. I was on a TV show yesterday, and I said, we asked God to bless America. We better ask him to have mercy on us. I mean, we're allowing these dirtbags in here. We're allowing the child trafficking for sexual purposes for the deviants in this country, and we are not stopping it. And that's the kind of thing you need to hit them in the face with, because and why in the world preachers and everybody else aren't talking about this is just beyond me. But this little girl should have never been, if this law had been in effect and enforced, she would still be alive today.
Congressman Tim Burchett is joining us, and as you, I'm sure, know, Congressman, we talk about this stuff all the time on Nashville's Morning News and WTN, and you are absolutely right. Very quickly, reconciliation bills. One big, beautiful bill, as Donald Trump says, or should it be two? What is your take?
I don't care. It could be 50. I just want to know what's in it. That's the problem with a big bill. You don't know what's in it. And the big boys love that. They love that. That's over $36 trillion in debt, because they will not, they'll pass it and they know what's in it, and then the rest of us don't. Or we just pass it because it has one little aspect of it. They're already talking to me about my bill dealing with the Taliban, tucking it in one of these big bills, try to get me to vote for it. And that's what they do.
Wow.
And so, this is just the strategy they use. And they'll, I don't mind one bill as long as you all on WTN know what the heck's in it.
Well, that's,
Trump's already said he'll do it. He'll do two.
Okay.
But, the reality is you pass the big bill and then you pass the cleanup bill. But the one thing that Trump can't do is, or can't address, is tax law. So we have to have a tax law that has to be done by us. He can't do that by executive order.
All right, Congressman Tim Burchett, always great to have you on. And man, so much going on. And I hate that bills like his, don't fund the Taliban bill is sometimes held hostage so that he'll vote for these reconciliation bills. That's why I'm all for, individual bills, and you can vote yes or no on it. And that is certainly a bill that I would support, is a bill not to fund the Taliban.
I want to hear who it is in the Senate that held it up.
You know what? I tried to pry it out of it, man, and he wasn't going to name names, but he also said, and I'm a big fan of Congressman Tim Burchett. He may be my favorite congressman. But he's not who represents my district.
I'd be surprised.
But here's the thing, is that he said, coming up next year, or here in 2025, he may not be so kind as to not name names. So he may start naming names.
Good.
All right.
Let her rip.
All right. I'm going to name myself. I am guilty of being late for traffic. It is 6:50 on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads.